be making a video of Narrow Plantain creating a tincture. This one is going to be alcohol based, and I've had a few clients saying, can you please make a video? I've sent them the topical tincture, which is here, which is made with glycerine. I've sent them this free of charge. I've not charged them for it because I don't sell it, to see how it works for them. They found it fantastic and they wanted me to make a video, and it's long overdue, so that's why I'm doing it tonight. So basically I am making a alcohol based tincture, so this will be something that you can consume. You can also use it on your skin, and it lasts a little bit longer. So I'm going to be making that with the Narrow Plantain. So first I'll show you what the Narrow Plantain actually looks like. So this is what the leaves look like. This is so common and most of you will have seen it absolutely everywhere. You probably walk out your house, and you'll see on the front of on the grass in front of your house that this is actually growing. It grows everywhere in the world and it is so common, very hardy, and you know, you can literally pick it from anywhere. I'm making an alcohol tincture and that will consist of vodka. I've got Absolute vodka here. It needs to be around about 80% proof, which translates to 40% alcohol, as you can see. I don't really like vodka, so I've literally only bought this to make this tincture. So if you're going to do it at home, be mindful that you're going to need to buy a good proof vodka before you create this tincture. I will also be using deionized water, so there are no ions in this water. The reason why I'm using deionized water is to prevent any microbial contamination when creating it. The only purpose for the water is to help draw the goodness out of the herbs. So it actually works with the alcohol to extract the necessary benefits from the herb. There is no other purpose for the water. If the water is just normal tap water, you are running the risk of having a really short-lived product. It will not last long on the shelf because of the risk of microbial contamination. And you can use distilled water. I don't know where, there are lots of different places you can get it from. You can use distilled water. I still think that would limit your shelf life of your product. If you're going to make it, use deionized water. I'm thinking about doing like a litre. So I'm using one of these mason jars. They can close pretty tightly. They're very airtight. They're really good. And you can get them quite cheaply from, I got this from IKEA. And I think they're about £2 to £3. It doesn't say the price on it. But, you know, I do have a lot of these lying around my house because I store a lot of herbs. So this one is just hanging around. I was going to buy one today for the purposes of this, but I didn't need to. But if you do, it's literally only about £2 or £3. It's not really expensive. Because I'm making a tincture that's going to be 1 litre, I need to make sure that I measure that appropriate to the amount of vegetation that I'm adding to the tincture. I want to have 40% alcohol and I want to have 60% water. However, it needs to fit into that litre amount and take into account the amount of vegetation that I'm putting in there. So I'm going to measure or weigh this first and then use the rest of the percentage to work out how much I'm going to add in terms of water and alcohol. Now the scales are set to grams. I'm going to weigh this out and see what it's saying. So this is only 42 grams of vegetation. It's enough. And that means that I can deduct that from the overall amount that I'm going to divvy up the two. So I'm going to do that now. So because this weighs 42 grams, we are now working with 958 grams to make up the entire formulation. That's how I'm working it out. That's how it's worked for me. That's how I do it. Other people might do it a different way. You know, it's up to them. So we worked it out, and that means that 40% of this particular amount would be 383.2 grams. So I'm just going to go ahead and open this bottle of vodka and weigh it out. I've just opened it. There's a little plasticky thing. So I'm going to put it on here so you can see it. I'll move that out of the way. It's a bit of a small one. I'll have to use this one because the glass one here is a bit small. I can't find the other one. So in grams, I'm going to tear that. And we want 383.2 grams of vodka. There we go. 382. Oh, 383, sorry. Oh, yep, it's 383. There we go. It actually wasn't even, it was quite a lot of the bottle actually. But there we go. So there's that. Now for the water, I'm going to use this jug. And that will be 574.8%. So I'm going to measure this, tear that, and I'm going to use the deionized water and get 574.8% water out of here. There we go. Perfect. Everything's weighed out now. All we have to do is mix it all in together. So I'm going to add the Narrow Plantain. One of the great things about Narrow Plantain, especially this type of tincture, it can be taken orally. It's really good at relieving pain. It's really, really good it acts as a really great antihistamine. It's good if you've got cold and flu, so you can take a few drops when you're sick. And you could also put it on your skin topically if you really needed to help with stings and bites, and it's a really good healer of broken wounds or cuts. So that is one of the amazing things. There's so many medicinal benefits to having this particular tincture, and it's so easy to get hold of. You can get it anywhere. You can literally pick it off the street while you're having a walk. It is so easy. It's not even something that you have to struggle to find. Anywho, so I'm going to add everything. So first I'm going to add the vodka. Put that in there. The vodka is in. You see it's not actually covered it, and we haven't used too much. I think using too much just means that you're probably not going to get a great potent amount, but once we've added this, it's going to definitely cover it all. And there we go. That's it. We haven't used too much fluid. It seems to be a really comfortable ratio between the vegetation, the herb, and the fluids that are in there. So that's really good. We have a litre. Maybe if I'd have had more herb, if I'd have had a little bit more Narrow Plantain, I probably would have made it a bigger tincture, but there just wasn't enough to do that. So I'm going to leave it in there. Give it a good mix. It's airtight. Leave it in a nice cold and dry place. Or just cool and dry. It doesn't have to be cold. This is really cool down here where I make all my products. It's like, it is a converted garage of ours, so it is very, very cool. And when it's really, really hot, it's still really cool in here. So it's a great place, and when the lights are off, it's really dark. So yeah, I'll be leaving that. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to put a label on it. So here's the label, and it is the 24th of March 2024. It only needs to be in here for about 6 weeks. And after about 4 to 6 weeks, you could even leave it in for 4 weeks. After about 4 to 6 weeks, it'd be a good idea to strain it off, and then decant it into your like little jars or bottles. I have these. These are actually quite small in comparison to what I could be using. I might need larger ones for this. But they're really, really good, and you can get them quite cheap. I bought a box from Amazon. So this is the box that I bought from Amazon. I got them, you get 12 in here, and I think they're about a tenner. So they're pretty good. You could get much bigger ones so that, you know, you can get more into each bottle if you're wanting to store them and keep them for yourself. fantastic thing about the alcohol one is that it lasts for up to 5 years, so you can have it to 2 to 5 years, providing that you are using distilled water, your ratios are reasonable, and you've got a good proof alcohol in there. It could last up to 5 years, so having a bigger bottles would be quite beneficial. The other one that I made, so this one I actually made in October last year, and this one is made with glycerine, purely glycerine. I didn't put any water in here at all, and the reason for that is it can reduce the shelf life, but also because I used fresh leaves like this one, and I wanted to make it last a little bit longer. So a glycerine one can last for up to 2 to 3 years in terms of shelf life, and it is really quite potent. The only problem is if you leave it for too long, you'll notice that chlorophyll might sort of be extracted into there, so the chlorophyll from the leaves, but it hasn't. You can see it's got quite a nice orange jus. I think that's just from the extraction. It is ready for me to take those things out. I have left it in there since October. I have also sent some of this to some of my clients, and they absolutely think it's amazing. They're like blown away. How does it even work? Because it's just simply taken out of my garden. So this one is even more simple. This one was made with just glycerine, so you can buy glycerine online. I think you can probably get it for about £5. And then I just picked them from the garden, from just random places, give them a bit of a wash down and put them in here, and now I have several bottles of a really good bug treatment, bug bite treatment, nettle sting treatment, broken skin, cuts, bruises, eczema, psoriasis. This is amazing. The reason why I don't really sell it is because I feel like people can just buy it themselves, buy these simple jars and get a bit of glycerin and make them themselves, and then this is going to create a hell of a lot more than this 12 bottles. You can get a hell of a lot out of it. It lasts for a long time. So that's one of the reasons. Plus, nobody's really ever asked me. I've had a few clients ask me to make this video, which I'm completely happy to do, but nobody's ever really asked me if I sell tinctures. I make them, I don't really sell them, but if people really want me to sell them, I'm happy to do that. But you need to recognise that I would be factoring in costs of actually having to produce something like this, when it's really a good idea to try and get into it yourself. It's not all about making money for me. Sometimes it's just about imparting wisdom and sharing what I already know, if it's going to help somebody else. But I would make them and sell them if it was completely, if people felt it was necessary for me to do so. I would make and sell them. Thank you for watching. I hope that this Narrow Plantain, this video of Narrow Plantain, has been helpful, and you consider creating your own tinctures using Narrow Plantain in the future. I hope it was simple enough for people to follow, and I hope you have a good evening. See you later.